I did watch Fuller House.
What was his?
Uncle Joey.
No, I know that. I know who fucking
Mr. Woodchuck.
Yeah. What was the What was that show called? Because it was
the weird wombat thing that ran around and said, "Fast as fast can be, you'll never catch me."
I know what the wombat thing.
Man.
Uncle Jesse.
I'm talking about
Kimmy Gibbler.
It was called like Family's Funniest Videos
Aunt
or
Becky.
some stupid shit.
Oh.
You're just saying random things. Aunt Becky.
I haven't said Jodie Sweetin yet.
Don't worry about it, Erica. Don't try to make
Erica, you go
what?
back. You go back to doing your e-kegels. You'll get strong. You'll get strong.
Okay.
Your
This is not fair. This is not fair. It doesn't work.
E-kegs. Yeah, there you go.
You're just calling us all whores.
Jeez. Okay, I'm gonna go now.
Bye.
Bye, Erica. It was good talking to you.
Bye. You too.
See ya.
Hey guys, we need to remember that e-kegs line. That's.
Do you like that?
That's good.
Which one?
E-kegels. That's how you get your E-Vagin strong.
E-Vagin.
That's how you get your E-Vagin strong.
No,
You do your
because-
Let's start with
E-kegels.
that. Let's start with
No, because listen.
How
You
do you
guys
strengthen
can have a big penis, but we can't have a big vagina.
You
No.
can't too. You absolutely
After we're
can't.
done
We
with
can,
you.
but
Well,
it's
we're
not
not-
a good thing.
Oh,
What the
Jesus.
fuck, Andrew? That was so not your
Okay,
character.
so I'm just gonna point out we're not talking about big. We're talking about strong. If you
Strong,
want your
dude.
E-Vagin to be strong, you
Gotta
have to do
clench down.
E-kegels.
Yes, but it doesn't match with E-peen because you said those had to be big, not strong.
Well, of course they do. They're peens.
But if you're doing the same
All peens are
context, they
strong.
need to be big
Alright.
vagine.
All right. This is
I don't
enough.
have a
And
big-
by the way, we don't need to bring this back up later. I'm just gonna leave this in. I'm leaving all of this in.
What?
Yeah. We're cutting it into 2 episodes
So every
now.
time you
We're
make
cutting
your-
it into 2 halves now. So we're starting off episode 2 with how to get your E-Vagin strong. All right. We're
That's
trying.
with E-Keys.
E-kegs.
Yes,
E-kegs.
E-kegs.
So every time you do something shitty
your
online, you do
your
E-Keys.
electronic
So
kegels.
strong, not big, like a peen.
Yeah. It's not like
Just
that's
to
it's not like
clarify.
that's the only difference men
We're
and
not
women
all
have.
E-horings.
Anyway, you guys
Whores.
are weird, and you're making me uncomfortable.
No.
He'll cry about it.
So I do want to get on. I want to get onto a topic that makes Mike uncomfortable, which is Nintendo.
Yes.
Makes him
Uncomfortable.
squirm in
It
his
does.
pantaloons. But no, Mike. Like I seriously, we talked about this a little bit in the upfront of the show. So Nintendo is planning to put some serious effort into making movies based on their brands. And you kind of made the point earlier, that they're going to go away, that Nintendo's on their way out, they're going to die. And here's the argument I'm going to throw out for you before we really dissect this, because coming as a product designer by day with a long-standing company, one of my favorite and most inspiring stories I like to tell at work is the story of Nintendo as a company, and what a lot of people don't know about Nintendo. Because you ask anyone,
Started as a card game.
it started as a card game company, right? Yeah. So thanks for spoiling the fucking story, dickwad.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
So
I did that on purpose.
so
you know.
okay, so in short, Nintendo was actually founded in the late 19th century, so late 1800s, right? And they started as a card company, and it's weird to explain because it's some sort of like Japanese, like not trading cards, some kind of cards. I want to say they
The
actually.
old card game. Yep.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. I
1800s,
want to say they
dude.
actually did gift
I
cards
wanna-
at some point. They did. They transitioned at one point to a board game company. They transitioned to a full-on toy company, and then while they were a toy company, they became a video game manufacturer. But what Nintendo has always done has changed with the times and completely switched their primarily what they are manufacturing or producing, essentially to stay alive. Like Nintendo is a story of survival, and my thought is that if they do it right, now don't get me wrong, I think it's unlikely, but if they do it right, picture they go through something like Marvel's going through now, where they actually create like a cinematic universe involving all of their characters that culminates in Captain and the movie, by the way. And then they eventually do what Marvel's not doing, which is just transition. Like, we're getting out of the game business now. We're just going to make movies. Because in this article that brought this to my attention, they actually specifically state that their whole purpose, they're a business, their whole purpose is to engage new generations in their brands. And if video games aren't what's doing it, Mario's probably got legs somewhere else, man.
So here's the thing: they tried a Mario movie. We all know how that went.
Touche, sir.
Second off,
Are you telling me that Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo holding hands and saying glug 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 wasn't like cinematic
terrible?
mastery to you?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it was terrible. And anyways, if you read this article, they even say like our main focus is console gaming. Like that's all that we're about. Now, if we can bring more attraction to that, that's what we're gonna do. In other words, we're gonna make a fucking feature-length commercial that has Link in it. Everybody's gonna pound their pud to it, and then hopefully they'll buy more Zelda games. That's fucking it. They're not concerned about quality movies. If you read this at all, they are not interested. Link doesn't talk. Mario jumps on mushrooms, dude. What the fuck movies are you gonna make? Who gives a shit about
Fucking Pokemon, man. A live-action Pokemon.
I'm gonna say no. I will say the first Pokemon movie was really good. The
Yeah.
first one was really
But it
good.
wasn't live action. Can you imagine
I was
that
gonna
shit?
say it was
We
cartoon.
could relate to it. These little kids would be like,
But it
"Oh
doesn't
my
have to.
God."
These don't have to be live action movies.
They don't
for
have
one.
to, but they could.
And two, are you telling me that product placement, the movie, isn't viable at this point? Hello, 2 years ago, we had a movie about a toy named after the toy, which was just a fucking commercial for the toys, and people were like, Oscar material. It was called the Lego Movie.
I was gonna say, are you talking about
It was a
the movie?
fucking commercial. It was a 2-hour commercial that made me cry. Will Ferrell made me fucking teary-eyed
That is
at the end of
very
that movie,
true.
and then I got to
That
the
is
end of it, and
true.
I was like, God damn.
I'm gonna play Lego.
I wonder when that Back to the Future Lego set's coming out.
I'm completely blanked.
So the Lego movie, here's the thing. The Lego video games, really, really good. A lot of people love the fucking Lego video games. The movie, a lot of people like the Lego movie because it was good. They are quality things.
It was
Legos themselves.
awesome.
Huh?
It was awesome.
It was. And Legos themselves are really, really high quality. They are the best building blocks on the market. Nobody gets Mega Blocks. Who gives a shit about that crap?
Hey!
Whoa,
Legos
whoa,
were-
whoa.
What? Oh, I'm sorry. Did I hurt your feelings? Do you make Mega Blocks? I'm sure that might be
I
part
have
of.
Mega Blocks. Okay.
Well, you
Look,
should
I know,
just-
I know. We sort of have a system where we don't discuss personal lives, but let's just say that I have goddamn connections in Mega Blocks,
Yeah,
motherfucker.
you have connections to it. You're not married to it. You know Legos are better. Pretend they're not if you want for business reasons. But for fuck's sake, Legos are better. And my point is, everything Lego does, they fucking strike gold every single damn time they do anything. So comparing, a Nintendo movie to a Lego movie, I don't see how that stacks up.
But I thought the Lego movie sounded stupid at first. I thought that comic book movies couldn't be any better than Blade at one point. You have to give them a chance.
Blade was awesome. Fuck you.
No. Blade was good, but that's my point. Was like for a while that was the best one. And now it's like I want to see Marvel, like Marvel Studios, go back and go, someone call Wesley Snipes and see what he's doing. See if he wants to reboot.
I remember what I was
Because
going to say.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
So, not everything I agree needs to be a live action film, and I know this is like 2 minutes ago, but I'm going to say my piece because I remembered it. So like Attack on Titan, great anime. They're making a live action film. They don't need to do that because it's going to be creepy. Like, am I going to watch it? Yes, but it's going to terrify me. And they did that to me. So, like, if they want to make Nintendo movies, I'm with Mike. I don't really know where they go with it. You give Link a voice, and you could ruin it for, like, everyone. And Troy
This
is
is
doing
true.
a creepy Titan.
I know. I don't know why this is
He's a
going on.
Titan, man.
But
He's a Titan.
anyway, so here's the thing about
Close,
Attack
Troy.
on Titan, and this is off topic as hell. But Attack on Titan, we can condense that whole fucking story into an hour. For real. I watched the entire season, and it is good, don't get me wrong, but it's good in the way that 5 minutes of each episode is good. Because the other 95 minutes or however long it is them going, I'm really scared. I don't know if I can be a leader. Should I fucking man up and do this shit? And it's all this inner monologue crap that really it's like, just sack up and do something already. I'm sick of fucking sitting watching you talk. Like it's
that's
the
character
most...
development, Mike.
no, it's not.
God.
You developed this character a long time ago, and now he's going through the same shit. Sorry, I've just been watching
you're
that.
right,
I don't want to tirade on it.
Recycling over and over again is not character.
Yeah.
An arc and a loop are two different things.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nintendo knows how to loop pretty well.
I think that's all they do. That's all they do. Here's a new Zelda game. Here's a new Star Fox game. Here's a new Mario game. And what else we got? What else we got?
No, that is totally true. Before I get on to my point, Britt, you were waving fingers around for a while. Do you have something?
Oh, I just wanted to say that who hasn't mastered Chief Mega Block? I do.
Oh, Jesus Christ. And I thought it was going to be something
sorry
important.
I dissed Mega Block, kids. Jesus Christ.
No, I will say this though. I will argue with you in that respect. If there is one thing Nintendo has done an absolutely shitty job with, is taking these fucking globally recognized characters and globally recognized franchises and brands and just give you the same shit over and over again. I mean, think about it. The last time Mario was revolutionary was Mario 64. The last time Mario felt genuinely fresh was Mario Galaxy. Both of those was a long time ago. They have buried Metroid 6 feet deep. Other M was an awful game. I think the last time Metroid was really meant something was probably the first Metroid Prime. The only one of their classic franchises that's consistently putting out good games is The Legend of Zelda, and even at this point they're so formulaic. I honestly thought that Skyward Sword, I've never played it, by the way. I thought Skyward Sword was a fucking terrible game. I was like, I'll go play the Twilight Princess HD on my Wii because I haven't played a Zelda in a while. I want to play it. And I was like, I won't even look for Skyward Sword even though it's the newest one because it has to be shit, right? Because I never heard anything about it. And then I get online, Skyward Sword is critically acclaimed and most reviewers consider it to be one of the few, if not the only, perfect, flawless games in the Zelda franchise. So when you make a game that's that critically acclaimed and people still weren't talking about it, that is a problem.
Yeah, so the other thing is, I mean, as we have looked on, we've looked up before, is the Wii U has sold like shit. And Nintendo has been on a downward decline for a long time. I think Dave actually sent us that article where Nintendo's been on a downward decline for a long-ass time. The Wii, they saw a spike, but that was like, a one-off, where the Wii U went right back to plummeting, and nobody's buying Wii U's. So these games might be good, but there's such a small market of people that have invested in a Nintendo just for like these one or two games that are worth a shit. Don't you think Nintendo would be better off being a software developer like Sega does, to where they market a Mario game and a Zelda game and a Star Fox game, which are quality most of the time, and they market that to the PlayStation and Xbox marketplace? Does that not sound like a smarter move? Because nobody's buying these consoles. Nobody gives a shit.
I would actually argue in the reverse. I think you're right. I think that they would probably be better off focusing on one or the other, but I would completely argue in the reverse. Nintendo is, of the three of them, part of the reason Nintendo fails a lot is because Nintendo puts themselves out there more often. They take risks more often, trying to develop new and interesting ways to play. I would actually say I would keep Nintendo in the console manufacturing business and have them put all their time, all their effort, and all their resources into helping make console gaming better in whatever way they choose to do that, and then give their IPs to other developers. Can you imagine, like, giving Mario, it's fucking nuts as it sounds, giving Mario or giving Metroid or giving Zelda to someone else and seeing what they do with it, right? Mm-hmm. And just completely relaunching the series through a different set of creative eyes. Like, that to me is a far more interesting prospect than just saying crank out the same games you've been doing with your franchises. Because truth be told, as much as I did enjoy Star Fox Zero, it was an inferior product. It is not as good as it's the worst of the Star Fox games, and the most recent Metroid was the worst of the Metroid games. The most recent was it Mario 3D World, which we have, and I think it's awesome and it's fun at the same time. I'd rather play Mario Maker any day of the week because it has the DNA of when Mario was really, really good. So I would rather see somebody else. I would rather see them. They should make fucking sweet licensing bank giving their characters to someone else.
I like the idea of them being able to hold on to the license and focus on the software stuff. And this, like, if they pledged to one console or the other, like PS4 or Xbox, it would destroy the quote console wars. They would be, it would severely hinder them. But as an interesting note, mentioning it before, that Xbox emulator, it opens the door that it is possible to port the emulators that are running on PC right now, like your N64, your SNES, and like all your emulators, to Xbox One. Now, granted, Nintendo and like Sony and stuff would step in and chop them down, but I mean, Nintendo could even do something like that. They could say, we're not going to do a console, but for $50, we will sell you a SNES emulator for your Xbox One, and it comes with 5 games, and then for
Smart.
10 more bucks, you get a few more games. Like,
That's a really good idea.
They could even do something like that. Like, they have a lot of options, and they still have a market of gamers who want to play it. We just don't want to buy their console.
Yep.
Like, give us another avenue to play your games.
Well, and let me go off on a slight tangent here, and correct me if I'm wrong, or just hear me out. But when I think of the Wii and Nintendo in general, I think of, they marketed to us when we were kids. When we were kids and we didn't have these high-end graphic games and PS3s and 4s, and like Nintendo was it. That's what you played when I was growing up anyway. Nowadays, kids don't want to play that unless their parents force them to. They want to play what their parents are playing. They see these. My cousin at 5 years old was playing GTA. Like, he's not sitting there on a Wii.
Oh, no. We all know Noah. Yeah. Noah Gellinger. Good. Shout out to Noah. If he's not listening, he should be. Actually,
But you know
probably
what I'm
should be.
saying?
You're still
Like,
too young.
is this like a valid point or not? But like, I see kids these days, and they don't want to sit and play a Kirby game or, a Mario game. They want to join us in the fight with Master Chief or with the cod, fish and stuff like that.
I love the fact that after all these years, you still call them codfish, because that one day I got drunk and I was like, "It's call them codfish, fuck those guys." And I remember, like, even Andrew. Well, like, we're playing Battlefield, and I'm trying to come up with a way to shit on Call of Duty fans, and Andrew's like, "Yeah, it's funny. It's totally funny. Yeah, codfish, definitely."
But yeah, so I think, if they do, like you're saying, they need to probably make one of those decisions whether or not to just kind of port their games elsewhere, because parents aren't buying these for their kids because they can just hand them their own controllers.
And I totally agree with you. I feel like we're going long on the Nintendo topic, but I totally do agree with you. Like, I owned a Super Nintendo. I owned a Nintendo 64. They were excellent. I grew up with that. I love it. But they're dead in the water now. They just can't compete. They're thinking about going into the mobile market. They're really stressing the mobile market now. Now, the mobile market sounds like where video game developers go to die. Like, you go there and you can make money there and you can do whatever, but now you're not in the nitty-gritty of real gaming anymore if you go into the mobile market. And that's fine. Everybody make games differently. I'm not trying to disparage that, but that means that consoles aren't for them anymore. When you're talking about the emulator and everything like that, I think that's great. Nintendo has a terrible history of no third-party bullshit, and sometimes they do third-party stuff, and that's good. They did Bayonetta 2, and they gave them a lot of freedom, and that was great, blah, blah, blah. But, as far as the console wars, if they picked a side, that would be terrible, because I don't want to see just one console every time, because that's a monopoly on the market. Now, I like the fact that there's Xbox, and I like the fact that there's PS4, and there's at least a competition between two. I would like to see a third that could hold up to them, but Nintendo's not doing it. and they haven't for a long time, and they're falling to the side because they won't do third party. They make these little kid games, and a lot of people do like these little kid games. Not everybody wants to play GTA 5, and I see where you're coming from. That makes a lot of sense, and it's probably a smaller market, but there are people that want to play child-friendly games that are colorful and fun, and Nintendo does deliver that. Now, is that going to justify an entire console? No, it's not. And that's where Nintendo needs to change.
And I will just close it out by saying, I think you can really summarize that argument by saying Sony and Xbox, or Sony and Microsoft, are appealing to people who have their own wallets with their own money in it. And Nintendo is appealing to people who have to appeal to their parents.
Mm-hmm.
True. That's a really good way to put it.
So, moving on, actually, I knew the Nintendo movie thing was going to be divisive, but we can move on now to something, a similar theme that's not going to be divisive at all. Apparently, Centipede, Missile Command, and Tetris are all being developed as movies.
How?
Who's excited for this? Who else is excited?
Woo!
Yeah,
What the fuck could they
Sarcasm.
possibly be? It was
What
actually
the
kind of
fuck?
funny because as I was making this outline, and I sent you guys the link to this, to this Tetris trailer that I saw a couple of years ago. Did any of you guys actually watch that on YouTube?
I did. That was hilarious.
No.
Oh yeah, so it's essentially it's this fan film, a fan trailer that came out a couple of years ago for a Tetris movie, and okay. For one, if you go Google this, you're going to get a lot of entertainment out of it because they are tons. So many fan films have been made about Tetris as a movie, and each one of them is live action, and each one of them is about blocks falling from the sky and destroying stuff. Everybody's doing the same shtick. Everyone is doing the same shtick. That's why that shitty movie Pixels exists, by the way, because the best of those fan films was actually co-opted to make a movie. But that being said, there is one that stands out from the pack, and it is fantastic in how bad it is. It is essentially a mech combat movie, but with Tetris blocks. It's pilots flying around in Tetris pieces, for some reason trying to destroy each other instead of landing on top of each other, and it's like they literally go so far as to have like, my brother died fighting for this sport, and then they've got the tough girl who's like, I'm the best Tetris pilot in the universe, and the guy's like, can I even get your number? It's just the dumbest fucking
Come
shit
on,
you've
man.
ever seen.
Like, now here's the thing: was that supposed to be funny? Because I was laughing my ass off.
I don't
And
think
that's
it was
what-
supposed to be funny.
That's what I thought. I was like, is this some tongue-in-cheek comedy? Like, if that's the case, that could work. If you know how silly and batshit stupid making a Tetris movie is, it's gonna succeed. Like, that could be cool. But if you're gonna take it and make it serious, because like this article is all like, we're making this hard-ass sci-fi movie about fucking Tetris. Are you the only one taking this seriously? People creating it? Because I think you are. Nobody else thinks this is serious in any way, shape, or form.
Well, the interesting thing is, like earlier we mentioned the Mega Man movie, right? And the thing that gives me hope for the Mega Man movie is that Fox is making the Mega Man movie. Like a big named film production company is making the Mega Man movie. The rest of these, I don't even know if I saw who is actually producing these motherfuckers. But I was reading through, So Deadline is reporting that Atari has closed a deal with Emmett Furla Oasis Films. What the fuck is that? Who even knows who those people are? And then the sad thing is they're actually saying they went so far as to create stories for Centipede and Missile Command because those games didn't have stories. Create stories for them. And Missile Command was actually a game about warfare that that was very clearly rooted in reality. And they're like, no, we're going to make it about an alien planet now, just to give it a story.
Yeah.
What the fuck? It's basically what Hasbro did with Battleship. It's the Battleship school of filmmaking.
Centipede's tie-in, its comic hilariously suggested that mushrooms in the game were actually villagers who were transformed by an evil wizard.
Hilarious.
I don't think, and that's the sad part. I don't think they were trying to be funny. They're like, we need to make a fucking story for this game. Why? You're shooting this centipede that's coming down the screen, and that's it. Like, I don't think anybody was asking, like, what's this about? What does this mean? What's the plot behind this? You know, where's the depth? No, everybody's like, let's shoot this fucking centipede and
Be done with
call
our
it a
day.
day. Like,
Yeah.
that's it. And the very first thing I thought before I even read the article was, this sounds like Battleship. And then the article itself was like, this is Battleship, kind of, the same deal. And I was like, why would anyone want to repeat that? That was a fucking shit movie.
I didn't watch it, and one day I will.
You
One
did
day I'll get
yourself,
bored enough. One day
a
I'll get
total
bored enough.
solid. No, don't.
You mean Riri can't act?
She's pretty, and I like looking at her, but and I'm not saying that she can't act. I'm just saying she was in a movie where acting, you couldn't even pay attention to how well people were acting because you're like, this is so batshit stupid. I can't even pay attention beyond that. So anybody that showed their face on screen, you're like, you're an idiot. Like, I can't look at you any other way because you're part of this fucking
I
trap.
just want the scene where, and I know that like the timing doesn't make sense, but I want the scene where like, you know, they have the emotional moment and they're ready to go out for the final battle, and Rihanna says, "Let's go to work, 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 work," and that's like the beginning for their battle montage. But I do want to point out that that the Tetris movie is actually is apparently being put together by Threshold Entertainment Group, who is run by veteran film producer Larry Kazanoff, who apparently worked on the original Mortal Kombat movie. So you know it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
It sounded like you were disparaging the original Mortal Kombat movie.
Well, at least it was better than Annihilation.
It was better than what?
Annihilation.
Oh, absolutely. And the thing is, and if you go online, I'm not alone on this. The first Mortal Kombat movie, pretty fucking good adaptation. As far as video game movies go, it's pretty quality in comparison to, you know,
Your
Mario Brothers.
brother's soul is mine.
I know, and he delivered that with
You
such conviction.
will be next.
So beautiful.
Oh, Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa. Only one man could have played both Shang Tsung and Heihachi Mishima in live-action adaptations. Only one man. Now all we need is a good live-action Street Fighter, or just another live-action Street Fighter, where Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa plays fucking Akuma, and he'd be the baddest man on the planet.
The thing is, I went and watched, God, what were we talking about the other day? The one with Terry Bogard and all them shits.
Fatal
What's that
Fury, all
called?
that. You
King
watched
of Fighters?
Yep.
Yeah, I went and I
With
watched
Maggie,
that on
with
Netflix.
Maggie Q.
I watched that on Netflix the other day after we talked about it. What a pile of shit.
What did that have to do with the video games?
What did it have to do with anything? Why was there a big floating ball of snakes? Why was that there? I don't
It
understand.
should have been a tournament. It should have been a tournament run by Rugal Bernstein, and it should have been as corny as they. Seriously, every character should have looked like a fucking cartoon. And when I say looked like a cartoon, I mean they should have been designed. Terry Bogard should have been wearing a red jacket with a star on the back with his sleeves cut off. He should have fucking thrown his hat off and said, "Hey, come on, come on!" And that should have been his only fucking dialogue.
That's all you gotta do.
Or
It's already in place for
Buster
you.
Wolf. I mean,
It's
I don't
already in place for you.
exactly. It doesn't need to.
But no, we're gonna get earpieces that send us into another dimension so we can fight in another dimension. Like what? What is going? What happened? What was that writing room like? What was the meeting like? God, I wish I was a fly on the wall of that shit.
I watched like
That's
10 minutes of it
ridiculous.
and I tapped out. I was just like, I can't see.
Oh, I watched
like,
the whole thing.
King
I'm
of
a
Fighters.
masochist.
King of Fighters is like my. That's that like that and Guilty Gear as far as fighting games go. Like those are where my heart are, and I just like I couldn't see King of Fighters get blown up like that. I just couldn't watch it. It was
so
really
bad.
fucking hard.
God, Ray Park, do not talk in a movie. Don't
Who did he play?
have.
Oh no, he played Rugal, didn't he?
He did.
Oh god damn it!
They
I
called him
remember-
Rugal. I wouldn't say he played. Well,
Now
that
that
would,
I, oh
that
yeah,
would be
he,
giving him
you
way
mean
more credit.
he wasn't wearing a purple suit with coattails and long blonde hair, looking like a fucking dope motherfucker. Of course he wasn't. But anyway, I wanna make the point here because obviously we gloss right over Centipede and Missile Command being movies and pretty much Tetris as well, and the reason is because it's fucking terrible. And
There's no reason to talk about it.
The reason people don't take video game movies seriously is because the people who make them don't take them seriously. And what pisses me off is I genuinely think, for example, Nintendo has the IPs to really make fantastic movies, even if they're CG, to make fantastic movies, but you won't get the best people working on them, you won't get the most money invested in them, you won't get the most care and time and effort put into them if we keep making shit like Centipede and fucking Missile Command into movies. Fucking stop. Give me a fucking Metroid movie that is taken seriously, and I guarantee you will have fucking Ridley Scott's Alien for the next generation. I guarantee you that shit, if you just take it fucking seriously.
The worst part about all of it is these games don't even have the nostalgia factor. Like, I was young enough to have played them. I'm old as fuck. I could give two shits about Missile Command. I read it and I was like, oh yeah, Missile Command. That was the thing. Like, who gives a rat's ass? It's so stupid. It's a terrible idea. I don't think these movies are ever going to get made, and I hope to God they don't. They sound like the dumbest shit ever.
They're
so.
just they just feel like a cancer that's keeping me from like I said, from my Metroid movie, because because a Metroid movie could be made and the role of Samus Aran on film, that's a fucking star maker. You will make a fucking star with that movie if you do it right, but it's never gonna happen if we keep making movies like fucking Pixels, guys, and if we keep going to see movies like Pixels, if we keep fucking putting money into that and treating video games like that is the highest they can get on the fucking scale of how important they are as an art form.
And Pixels at least tried, but it sounds like Centipede, Missile Command, and Tetris are counterproductive as hell. Like, all you're doing is hurting the rep of video game movies. Please just go away and stop.
All they need to do is pick the right people, you know? You want to make a Samus movie, you pick like Amy Schumer, and I guarantee it'd be a blockbuster hit. It would just be outstanding.
And that's
it'd be
and
just
that's very
Samus
true.
standing around talking about her dirty vagina.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say Samus because she needs to be taken seriously. But I mean, for Tetris and Missile Command and Centipede, if they made it one big fucking stupid joke, that could work. But if you try to take it seriously at all, it's gonna flop.
Dust in the wind. All they are is dust in the wind.
Thanks for that musical break.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from, but it's fine. I'm fine.
I just felt like singing.
I'll take it.
It just kind of came to
I'll
me.
be serenaded.
No, that's
I don't-
wonderful. That was fantastic.
I feel like that's a good segue into the next topic.
Yeah, of course it is, because when you think of dust in the wind, you definitely think of Capcom, right?
A little bit,
Yeah.
actually.
So, and I'm gonna butcher this name because it's Japanese and I suck. But Capcom CEO Kenzo Sugimoto admits that Street Fighter V needed more polish before its launch. Oh, what a surprise! You finally came out and admitted it. You fuck. It blows me away to think that it took this long for them to just stop. Now, I will say, much credit to Capcom for actually stopping and admitting this. And this is another topic where I'm going to draw on my experience. Again, I don't want to get into like my actual personal work life, but I will say this: one of the hardest parts about what I do is knowing that we're pushing really hard and really fast to create a product, and we're trying to meet this fucking deadline that someone outside of the company has set up for us, essentially a retailer has set up for us, and the product, the end result, almost always suffers because of it. That's why you only get magic out of a specific type of product, like newsworthy magic, every couple of years, is because most shit is just rushed out and no one has time to actually perfect the vision. And I think that's what's happening to Capcom here. So it's kind of nice if they're serious to hear that they're actually going to say, no, you know what? We're not dropping this motherfucker till it's ready because we are losing our fucking core.
I really agree, like, that them coming out and actually saying that they acknowledge it is good. Now, it sucks that they also acknowledge that they will work on it in the future. So, you know, like, sorry to anyone that got bummed. We're not going to give you any, like, you know, apology or, like, here's $10 off our next game or something. But it is kind of in the programming world that you make your features and you send it out and then you bug fix it. And I think it's just lately that trend has gotten worse. But I am glad to see some companies start stepping it up. Like EA, they got voted worst company in America, that like worst company award, like 2 years ago, and they actually acknowledged it and said we don't want that anymore. And I really feel that they've turned it around. They launched Battlefield 4, and everybody knows it was pretty rocky. But they've updated it, and they've come out and also said that with Battlefield 1, they're going to, you know, try to ensure with everything they can that it's a smooth and stable launch. And I really think that the community as a whole is starting to get sick and tired of half-baked games coming out. And a lot of publishers are guilty of it. Now, there are some who I feel have always stayed the course. You've got like your Witcher with your CD Projekt Red, you've got Rocket League came out super smooth, and hell, you got Overwatch coming out, and if Blizzard puts their name on something, it's going to be stable. Like, they are extremely good programmers. So I'm glad to see more companies are finally saying like we apologize that we screwed up, and I really hope they turn it around, because if you put out another flop, like I see them tanking very hard.
Yeah, and yeah, I just think fucking the fans are getting tired of it, man, and they're finally doing what we've been talking about doing on this show since day one, which is fucking voting with your dollars, letting your voice be heard, based by buying what's fucking quality. Like I am a big fighting game fan, and I love Street Fighter, right? I'm not saying I'm a fantastic player, but I love the franchise, right? And I know Mike loves the franchise. Like, of all the people that I know that love that franchise, only one fucking guy bought it, and he didn't buy it on fucking launch day. He bought it after some time, once he even let them tweak out the few issues that they had. Like, that absolutely blows my mind that we're at a point where they're just shitting stuff out to shit it out. And now I think that to a certain extent, I don't know if it's irreparable, but they've tarnished the brand of the name in fighting games. And I'm sure that if this wasn't the wake-up call, it was a big part of it. Fucking Pokken Tournament on the Wii U. All the shitting that's been done on Nintendo on this show, on the Wii U on its current state, the Wii U exclusive Pokken Tournament developed by Namco Bandai, by the creators of Tekken and Soul Calibur, which, by the way, currently has a Metacritic score of 71, so it's a good game, but it's not by no means a perfect game. A Pokemon fighting game that's considered slightly above average is decimating them in sales. That is fucking... Oh, okay, maybe not decimating them, but they beat them, and that shouldn't have fucking happened. That should not have fucking happened.
Now, the thing is, like, Pokken Tournament, from what I've seen, like, I watched this YouTube guy named Maximilian Dude, who's really good.
Who doesn't love Max? If you don't watch Maximilian... Seriously,
He's pretty good, man.
If you're a fighting game fan and you do not watch Maximilian stream, what are you doing with your life?
Watch his Killer Instinct stuff. He's a fucking quality Killer Instinct player. And his videos are really good. He's a very knowledgeable dude. And he was talking about it, and he pointed out, Pokken Tournament is pretty solid, and it has it's very good quality, but it shouldn't have held a candle to a Street Fighter title. Like you said, it is the name in fighting games, and it has been for years. 4 came, and I was actually on the fence every time a Street Fighter game came out, so I want to give it a little more time because somebody gifted Street Fighter 5 to me recently, and I've been playing a little bit of it. It's not.
Oh, I didn't know you even had it.
Yeah, I have it now, and it's not catching my interest as much as I wanted it to. Even Street Fighter 4, I was like, this feels weird to me, and I was like, I'm going to keep playing it, and I eventually got good. I was like, okay, I see where this is at. Street Fighter 5, I don't even feel that way, and I don't know how much they rushed it. I don't know how much, when Street Fighter 4 came out, vanilla Street Fighter 4 is left in the dust, and everybody acknowledges the fact that vanilla wasn't very good. And then as it got better and it updated and they tweaked all the different fighting mechanics, hopefully Street Fighter 5 gets that, because it does feel very rushed. It feels very shitty, and it's like, man, this isn't some bullshit whatever title. This is motherfucking Street Fighter, and you got to show up to play. And like you said, people are voting with their dollar, and I'm glad to see this trend, because they're just going to keep doing that kind of stuff until people tell them, we're not standing for it anymore. We want quality, and gamers have to be savvy enough to say, because it's very easy to be like, oh, it's Street Fighter. I'm going to buy it at launch because it's going to be awesome. You can't trust that quality anymore because these developers realize, like, we can just shut about shit and people are going to buy it. Well, maybe that's not the case anymore, buddy. So maybe you need to put forth the effort.
Well, you can't trust it because of releases like this. But yep. I will even argue, I will argue, you said vanilla Street Fighter 4 wasn't that good. I would actually argue that Street Fighter, like, think back to when it came out. Sure, in retrospect, you can say that. It wasn't really well balanced. It had some issues. But really think back to when it came out. Like, it was exciting. We're talking about the launch of a game, and the thing about it is, Capcom in the past has always released the next numbered entry in the Street Fighter franchise because they knew it was something fresh and different, and it was the new generation. It was time to move on. I got to play Street Fighter V a little bit in a GameStop the other day, and to be honest with you, it felt like Street Fighter 4 with updated graphics, but less refined systems. It just really did. It felt like totally less refined systems. And again, that was a really brief play, but it definitely didn't hook me. But when you seriously, go back and think about it. Okay, Street Fighter, the first one, original, it is what it is. It's gaming history. But Street Fighter 2 set the standard. Maybe the best all-around fighting game of all time. It's still just so beautiful and so polished and so technical. It's fucking fantastic. And I also like because it's simple and it's like core to the root of fighting games. Street Fighter 3, Holy shit. That game should have failed in every conceivable way because they got rid of 90% of their cast and made a completely different group of characters, but instead, you got one of the most polished, interesting, and most beloved tournament fighters of all time. And the reason is because they did it right and they took the time. And then the same thing with Street Fighter 4. Yeah, vanilla had its problems, but at the same time, it fucking set the standard at the time. Street Fighter 4, before we dismiss vanilla as sucking, let's remember that Street Fighter 4 saved the fighting game genre.
I agree.
It found the fighting game genre in the bottom of Buffalo Bill's fucking little fucking trench.
The fighting games were putting the lotion on the skin.
They were putting the lotion on the skin, and fucking Street Fighter 4 was Jodie Foster there to save the fucking day. You know what I mean? So like, say what you want about what was, because it did have problems, but holy shit, all I can say is that I genuinely hope for Capcom's sake that Street Fighter V has like a Final Fantasy 14 2.0 fucking resurrection, because it is a beautiful game. Visually, it's very beautiful. The new characters are really intriguing. I love the fact that they've pushed some characters, like the fact that Nash is like totally different now. I love the fact that they've done all of that, but now you need to go back and fucking just give the people the game they should have gotten at launch.
True.
Yeah, I just wanted to note in, like, the people working on these games, the programmers, not like, you know, the publishers and everything, but the programmers working on these games, like, they want to make a quality product. And so I'm really hoping that this change brings it back to the publishers and the high ups of these companies to understand that, like, if you give your programmers time, they will make a polished game, and they want to make a polished game. The gaming industry for developers is brutal. If you are a programmer and you want to make money, you don't work in games. You work in games because you are passionate about it, and you are okay being worked as like a slave for less pay than anybody working on like big name software.
Yeah, if you think that there's a single guy who worked on Street Fighter V, considering their age, the age of the average game designer, think that team wasn't full of guys who grew up with Street Fighter 2 and were fucking stoked and just to the fucking in love with the fact they were working on the Street Fighter, you're out of your goddamn mind.
So I'm going to go on a tangent here because this sounds like a corporate influence thing. This sounds like we wanted to push it out and the developers try to do something right. And, you know, as you said, Troy, the thing about Street Fighter is 3 was very different from 2. 4 is very different from 3 and 2. 5 is very different from 4, 3, and 2. 5 feels a little bit more like a throwback to 2, but there's so much more, like, let's put it this way. In 5, it's much more counterattack. Like, someone's throwing a punch, you throw out a punch that's faster, and you catch them into something. The combos aren't quite as long as 4. And in 5, like, you can't just spam DP and get out of it. You can't spam Dragon Punch with Ryu and Ken and always beat whatever's coming next. Like, they are making tweaks that are smart and they are a good idea. When I was reading about the development of Street Fighter V, and you know, I've read a little bit into it, and I'm not a programmer, and so Andrew might be able to chime in on this a little bit better, but there was one guy that was programming the back end. He was the one that was doing all the stuff for the matchmaking online, all this different stuff. They had one fucking guy on it. That is a bad decision. No matter what you do, you knew going into this you were half-assing it. If you're putting one dude on the back end of a Street Fighter V fucking game, you are not doing it justice.
Yeah, like, really, you need a team back there. When you program anything, you need a team. You need somebody that's at least reviewing what you do. Like, programmers, engineers, developers, all of us, we think of a way to solve a problem, and we're like, okay, everybody does it this way because that's the first way that I thought of it happening. So if you don't consider more possibilities, or if you don't have those extra eyes, you'll make something that works, but it may only work in, like, one scenario. And it really, you know, hearing that that's kind of how that development went, that's pretty shitty.
So yeah, I do kind of want to double down on this point that was made about the people working on the game and their passion, the fact they wanted to make a great game, and sort of the negative side of corporate influence. Because again, it's something that I deal with in my job all the time, because everyone that I work with wants to create a fantastic product for the end user. You know what I mean? That is the goal. That is the idea. That is the spirit of why we show up to the office every day. But the number one thing that is always looming over our heads, or as Master Shake would put it, the albatross just hanging around my neck, is the schedule. It's the time. It's knowing that essentially you're turning your product over to retailers who are going to sell it, and those retailers are telling you that if you don't have a finished product for us on this date, we are not taking any of them. We won't take a single shipment if we don't have the first shipment by this fucking date. And so then that's where that corporate influence, that's where those wheels really start grinding. So then it hits a point where things don't go well, or there's a mistake, or really not even necessarily a mistake, just people are doing their jobs, but it's impossible to do it fast enough and still make a quality product. So you start making sacrifices, or what I like to refer to as the hard choices. You start making the hard choices, and at the end of the day, you like to think that you're boiling your finished product down to the essence of what it should be. But then when it actually hits the market, it's not what people wanted. And I feel like Street Fighter V is like a quintessential
Indicative
story.
of that. Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
you. Yes, perfect. Because it is Street Fighter. Okay, if every other Street Fighter game was like a devastating shotgun to the fighting game scene that really just blew a fucking hole in it and shook things up, Street Fighter V is a scalpel that's going to do some damage. It's going to do some damage on a precision level, but it's certainly not going to leave you with the fucking visual spectacle that a shotgun would have. And that's what they need.
And my problem has always been, why do we have these schedules? Who is setting these schedules? And I've seen people online bitch about things that get pushed back, but maybe you shouldn't have made that announcement in the first place. Like, you should have just said, hey, we're working on this, and it's coming out when it comes out. Like we were talking about Mighty Number 9 earlier, and I want to see that when it's done. I don't give a fuck when it is. I don't care if I'm 45 years old and we got Mighty Number 9 done, and I play it, and it is the most mind-blowing, awesome thing ever. I would rather have that than, here, we got this out, we had to cut a few things, and it's not quite as good as it could have been. So here's some shit that we pooped out. And Capcom is, and I hate to say it because I like a lot of Capcom games, but did they shit the bed again? You know, like, we're going to push out Inafune by fucking with him so long to where he just doesn't... He was creative director. He had the tip-top fucking creative position and didn't feel like he had enough creative liberty. Like, that's pretty fucking sad. Now, you're not going to give me Street Fighter V because of any kind of schedule, or you want to push it. And they push it out for these tournaments or for this all this other stuff, and they made all these excuses. And it's like, you're going to make me buy a $60 game for something that really you even yourselves have made a point to point out it's not finished yet. No, dude,
They're
that's
serving
terrible.
too many masters. That's what
Exactly. And the masters are the consumers. Us gamers, we're the fucking masters. We tell you what we want. And you're the artist. And you know what you want to deliver to us. And I think the developers and the consumers know what they're looking for. And suits step in. And I mean, I know they pay the bills and they fund it and they make it happen a lot of times. But quit making these stupid decisions. Quit forcing them into corners and fucking over everybody. The people that are making it, the people that are playing it, you're just fucking us over, man. And you're making a bad business decision. Because look at the backlash of this. How is this helping you? It's not. If you let artistic merit stand on its own, you're going to get a really quality product and you're going to make your nut financially if you just fucking let it happen.
Well, real quick, I'm just going to point out, and I think it's a big problem with big corporations in general. From a product development standpoint, I can tell you that every corporation in the world that creates product for the average consumer will tell you that the consumer is the master, that the end consumer is the master. Almost never the case. It's almost never the case. That's the spirit. That's the spirit of how the company started. But they're almost never the master that you're serving.
Yeah, and it really, it shows when companies do realize that they need to take a step back and work on a product, or that they need to incorporate consumer feedback on it. Like, Witcher 3 got delayed at least once. I think it got total delayed twice, and it is now the most awarded video game in history. They pushed it back because they knew that they weren't happy with it, and it's a massive success for them. Everybody raves how great that game is. They're working on their next game, and the community online is just so stoked for it. Everybody is super excited because they know it's going to be quality. Like, you take the time to really put your heart into the game, you make something that you're proud of, and people will respond to it.
If it's worth waiting for, we'll wait for it. So make something worth waiting for. And if you're not making something worth waiting for, then push out your crap. And then some people will buy it, but most people probably won't be suckered into it. And Brittany, are you awake? Yeah.
I'll put my hand up.
The audience can't see your hand. Please let them know that you're still alive. with us.
You know what? Hey, this is standard. This is standard Brittany fare. She gets about halfway through the show and she taps the fuck out.
Sorry, we're getting too serious on you.
It is like 2.90 out of 3 way. Okay.
A 3-way.
2.9 out of a 3-way. I'll take that.
Yeah.
I simply am leaning back on the couch, looking up at the ceiling, listening to you guys.
By the way, guys, I want to point out that I have to hear about it every time someone calls her out about this.
Good.
So
Yeah,
thank you for
I
that.
hope she bitches you out about me tonight.
I'll talk.
That sounds awesome.
Is
I'm
it
listening.
2.9? Are we missing like a leg or a hand? Like, what are we,
You know what? I'm
what are we
gonna
talking
step off
about
An
here?
amputee. It's an amputee orgy.
That sounds like a fun weekend.
So last but not least, I do just want to talk a little bit. Being a big Kojima fanboy, I do want to talk a little bit about this recent reveal that he's done. So I want to say a couple weeks ago, the new Kojima Productions logo was revealed. So it's important to note this is a different Kojima Productions from the one that we're all aware of. The development house within Konami that was called Kojima Productions is owned by Konami. I don't know how the fuck this works out, but now that Kojima is on his own, has created his own unit, he's basically just kept the name. I'm sure there's something there's some difference that's saving his ass here, but he's released this really cool logo. It's a profile of a skull with the outline of a helmet around it, and what's interesting in Kojima fashion, in traditional Kojima fashion, everything is a fucking mystery with this guy. So after he releases this logo, a couple of days later he comes out and he's like, oh, by the way, that logo isn't just a logo, it means something, and it's fucking cool, and you should be super excited about it. So then he ends up revealing an image of the character that this logo is actually based on, and all I can say to explain this is it looks like, goddamn, it looks like X-Death from Final Fantasy V fucked the dude from, what's his name, Isaac Clarke from Dead Space, and the baby was born with no face and in a spacesuit. Like, it is one of the coolest fucking things. Like, I love this design. I'm in love with it. I'm excited for what it means, because Kojima basically keeps hinting that this character, which he calls Ludens, is something bigger. It has something to do with their his first big project away from Konami. I don't fucking know what it is, but I'm super fucking amped on it. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I have no idea what it is either, and that makes me not amped for it. Like, I'm confused. Tell me what the fuck this means. Either bring out a game or whatever. Otherwise, it's just a logo, and that's all good, but
listen to this.
Like
Listen to this.
Logo.
He says that this character Ludens is wearing the extra vehicular activity creative suit, and I can tell you, from playing every Metal Gear, when something's got a name that long, it's fucking dope. I mean, really, like, the longer the names get in Metal Gear, the fucking cooler whatever that name represents is.
I'll admit, like, I'm a little with Mike on this one just because I don't follow him too much, and so, like, it looks like a cool character, but, like, I have no idea what is happening. I mean, right now I see, like, a guy in his, like, astronaut suit walking around, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, is he, like, are they remaking, like, the Lonely Planet indie game that was made? Like,
Oh, Jesus.
you know, like, I don't know. I have no
frame of reference.
input.
You guys got to get your Kojima love on. You guys need to go back and play some Metal Gears. That's all I can say. You got to go back and play some fucking Metal Gear.
I've watched you play enough Metal Gear to where I am on board. Like, I
Thank
respect
you.
Kojima, and I
Thank
think
you.
yeah, and it's like I know as much about it as I need to, and I am on board with it. I bet it's going to be awesome, but at this point, it's a skull with a little helmet thing around it or some shit.
Oh
Like,
man,
I don't
you guys
know.
are buzzkills. This thing looks so awesome.
It does look pretty awesome.
I mean, it looks all right. I wasn't shit my pants over it. It looks like a skull with a fucking helmet on. That's what it looks like to me. And I guess there's supposed to be a body. He's like, oh, there's a body too.
There is the picture. I sent you the link. The picture
I would
exists, and it
imagine
looks
those
awesome.
disembodied
I just
heads
described
have
it to you,
bodies.
and there's a
Like, I
picture.
don't
You
know.
have a link to it. God damn it! Look at
I
it.
The
didn't
Ghost
see a full
Rider
body. I didn't see a
Frozen.
full body.
Well, no, they say full body. It's like down to his knees.
Thank you,
But you
thank
see
you,
the full
Andrew.
character. It's the link on our outline that says the actual character, quote unquote, Ludens. You need to click that one.
Hold on, I'm looking.
The new play.
Mike's like, I gave up.
Oh, okay.
It was the last
Yeah.
link.
Okay.
I
He's in
just
a
gave
metal
up.
suit. Yeah.
He
What
looks
is he gonna
cool
dive
as
for
fuck.
shell
It's
for
clearly a
oysters?
spacesuit.
Yeah,
It's clearly a
it's an
spacesuit.
oyster
He looks like a
simulator.
space Spartan. He looks like a. What if it's like an outer space god of war?
It's
Oh
not
my
gonna be
god.
because they already would have announced outer space God of War and the whole world would have shat their pants and it would have been awesome. But that's not what it is. So whatever it is, I'm
Kratos
sure
gets
it's
in a
fine.
spaceship in the modern day and goes looking for the Judeo-Christian
Good.
god.
And
He's
like,
like, I'm
"You
gonna
killed my
find
family,"
you.
even though he actually did, but he's gonna blame everybody else, and it's gonna be amazing because he's gonna kill everybody in
Oh,
gruesome,
fuck.
horrible ways.
And he has to
But-
be super stealthy, and he has to have a hot sidekick chick.
Kratos is not
he's gonna have
super
he's gonna have a hot side chick.
Yeah, there you go.
He bangs every hot woman that shows up on screen, and then
Yeah,
he
he
murders
does.
and Kratos doesn't need stealth, Brittany. I don't know you're aware of
Yeah.
that. He can just walk up to the front
Metal
gate,
Gear
pick it
reference.
open,
Thank you very much.
and just start slapping ass. That's
Yeah,
all
what
he
would
does.
you do if they put a stealth segment in a God of War game?
Oh,
how
man,
would
I'd
your
be
brain
so
just
pissed.
explode?
No, I would be
Your brain
pissed.
would just
So
fucking
pissed.
explode.
I know.
And by the way, that was one of the big slip ups in Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2. I know, like I've told you guys a lot. If you're God of War fans, you should have played Lords of Shadow, and you definitely should play the first one. Second one was good enough. It's debatable, but one of the big missteps was there are multiple stealth sections, and you're like, wait a second. I'm fucking Dracula. I'm fucking Dracula in a Castlevania
Who
game.
do I have to sneak
Yeah,
around?
who do I need to
Yeah.
hide from? Who
Yeah.
the fuck? Especially, in the second game, you're like, who the fuck should I be hiding from? It? Fuck you, hiding. Like, oh, that big guy over there? Yeah, I'll go skull fuck him. Give me 10 seconds. I'll go give him. But since you programmed him to be invincible, I have to turn to rats and run around his fucking ankles.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
That was my favorite part about God of War. Is Kratos is like, oh, by the way, I'm just climbing Olympus.
Yeah.
Get ready, all you gods. I'm gonna fuck you in the ass and tell your moms about it. It was fucking great. I fucking love God of War. He's so
Really?
one-dimensional. He's just so
Yeah.
one-dimensional. I'm angry and I'm gonna kill
But
shit.
you know what? That's
I know
why.
where I stand,
That's
dude.
why Kratos
Every
works as a character
Fuck
because
yeah.
because someone clearly like. Okay, I think you can do.
Rage
I think you can do stupid things when you're telling a story, as long as there's intelligent design behind it. And with God of War, literally at some point, it's clear someone just sat down and said, "I'm going to tell the most one-dimensional revenge story ever, but I am going to go balls to the wall with it."
This is why John Wick was good. I don't know if you guys have seen the movie John Wick.
I haven't, but what I actually heard that he like kills people like over a dog or some shit.
You killed my dog, and now I'm gonna kill everybody. Perfect premise. Perfect. What
kicked my
else
dog?
do I need? What else do I
yeah,
need?
your daughter,
Nothing.
she came over to my house. And
I'm gonna
she
kill
kicked my
more
dog.
fucking Russians than Chernobyl because you killed my puppy. Awesome. I'm on board, buddy. Come on, Keanu. Show me what you got. It is fucking it's amazing. I love that movie. I'm a very simple man, man.
Wow.
Got simple taste.
God,
What?
we gotta get
Oh, I'm
you. We
sorry.
gotta get you over on
Super
fucking
geek.
Johnny Cinema too. We gotta get a movie that you give a shit about.
I watch a lot of movies. I watch too many
I
movies.
know
That's
you do.
fucking sure.
I know you do. Well, I actually think that's gonna wrap it up, guys. So for Britt, who was complaining about the length, I actually think we're probably gonna end up being right on the mark, if not a little bit short this week.
I was complaining about the length.
Yeah, we're like
What?
we're like
When did I-
9/11 the way through the episode.
It's because you guys said that I was sleeping or whatever. You said halfway through the episode I normally clock out. Bitch, it's like almost done, and I didn't clock out. I was looking up at the sky.
Well, for
So
those
you're-
of us
so
who
you're
stuck
awake now?
around to the end, thank you so much. I know it's so difficult going back and hitting play every time someone interrupts you.
Well, this is part two. We made it part two this time for him, didn't we?
Well, now I fucking have to because you said it in the
Yeah, we did.
episode.
You're welcome, listeners.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
for me.
So we're gonna try this week just to do a different format. If nothing else, just so that people will stop coming to me going, hey, you ever think about doing a 1 hour show? Of course I have. Of course I have. Anyway, so The only other thing I really want to bring up here is I think since we're always looking for ways to make Zero Lives more interesting and more fun, and this will be a nice little test to see who is actually sticking around to the end. I think having guests would be fun. I want guests. I just want to bring random people in. We're not looking for replacements for hosts. I'm not looking for anything permanent. I'm looking for people who are genuinely invested in video games, who want to come on and talk video games with us, and who don't mind who don't mind just kind of sitting, even just with a handful of strangers, just BSing with us, just kind of coming in and being that X factor for a single episode to shake things up a little bit and have a little bit of fun. So, if that is something that you are interested in, feel free to email us at blackcoatradio@gmail.com. And we have just lost Mike. We literally just lost Mike at plug time. It was time.
Yep.
It's time to do so. I guess Mike doesn't get to plug anything. So Andrew, you're first. Anything you want to plug this week?
Just to get Mike's back, he does Project Nerd. So
He does Project Nerd.
Check out Mike's blogs and everything. Other than that, I just want to make sure everybody knows that Overwatch comes out this Monday, the 23rd, if you are in the Western Hemisphere. If you're in the Eastern Hemisphere and you're listening to this podcast, send an email, because that is freaking amazing. But the 23rd at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So buy Overwatch, get on there, because I need targets to hook.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one because, especially when it comes to trying to or being a guest on the show next week. If you're interested in Overwatch, if you like Overwatch, if you buy Overwatch this week, next week, man, we're going to be talking some Overwatch. I can almost guarantee we are all going to be like hip deep in Overwatch. So that's definitely something to get excited about. Britt, what have you got for plugs?
Today, I would just like to say, follow me on Twitter at Miss Midgie because I love you and I tweet about cool things sometimes. And you should also follow our own Twitter at Blackcoat Radio because I also take care of that one part-time with Troy, and that's pretty fun. And
Which really means neither one of us take care of it, but we try.
I get notifications
I'm
on
not
my
a
phone.
Twitter guy. It's
I
hard
get
for me.
notifications, so I try to reply back when I can, and it's fun. And let me think, what else? Rocket League on. If you're very good at Rocket League, hit me up. My buddy and I are always looking for people to play with. Other than that, I don't have much else tonight. I think we're just gonna take it a nice, slow night.
So I will. You know what? I will step in for Mike as well, real quick, and say, I'm the manager of the ProjectNerd.com gaming review section, and I have a couple of great video game reviewers who work for me, and we do really great video game reviews. So stop by and check it out. That's it. I just kind of want to make him sound like a dick for a second. No, you really should. You really should. Since Mike's not getting a chance to get it in, you should definitely check out the gaming reviews over at ProjectNerd.com. Mike puts a lot of heart and a lot of love into that endeavor. So I think yeah. If you're listening to this show and you're not checking out his regular video game reviews and the reviews from the guys he's got working beneath him, you are doing yourself a great disservice. I do want to get into the standard plugs for Blackcoat Radio. So every Monday you're going to get this Zero Lives video game podcast. Every Wednesday you are going to get the One Sweet Wrestling podcast, and every Friday Movie Night with Johnny Cinema. Email us, like I mentioned earlier, at blackcoatradio@gmail.com. Also, I know this show is always posted on SoundCloud. That's kind of our first home, but we are also branching out to get ourselves a little bit of a YouTube presence. So if you or someone you know has always had a bit of an issue with the fact they don't necessarily care for SoundCloud, they don't like the fact they have to download an app to access SoundCloud, and it's always been a point of contention, tell them they can check us out. Check out the Blackcoat Radio page on or channel on YouTube, I should say, and we're slowly moving towards uploading every episode of the 3 shows onto that YouTube channel so that people can access that in another way, in an easier way, however you'd want to classify that. And check us out on the Zero Lives Facebook page. We always love visits to the Facebook page. We're trying to build a community over there. We really want to hear from you, from the fans. We want to hear what you like, what you don't like, so we can move forward in a way that creates a better show for you. So I think that's it, guys. Anybody have anything else?
I think we did pretty good.
Nice. All right. Well, then I guess for Brittany, for Andrew, and for Mike, who is sadly no longer with us, I am Troy. It was great to talk to you, and we will see you next week. You've been listening to the Zero Lives Video Game Podcast. Find this and many other quality nerdcasts for stream and download at Blackcoat Radio on SoundCloud and YouTube. Join us each and every week for news, reviews, and discussion on the world of video games and video game culture. Zero Lives Video Game Podcast is a product of Blackcoat Radio.